I'm Bianca Bono in the newsroom. For the first time, one of the suspects accused of killing Preston Lord agrees to a plea deal. Tonight, we take you inside the courtroom as Preston Lord's mother makes an emotional statement.
I'm Chase Golightly in Phoenix, where yet another school governing board is deciding whether or not to close down 2 schools. How they voted, coming up.
I'm Gabriella Becerra in the newsroom. 3 men unknowingly rented a car registered as stolen. Tonight, we're showing you the body camera video from that shocking discovery.
President Trump addressing a joint session of Congress tonight for the first time since returning to office. What he had to say about tariffs on Mexico and Canada that just went into effect.
In weather, I'm tracking the next big weather change. It starts with clouds moving in on Wednesday, when the rain really kicks in, with my weather impact forecast.
12 News at 10 with Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine starts now.
And we begin tonight with new developments in the Preston Lord murder case following an emotional day in Maricopa County Court. William Hines is one of 7 defendants charged with the 2023 death of the 16-year-old, and today he changed his plea to guilty. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Caribe Divine.
And I'm Mark Curtis. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono has been covering this tragic case since it first happened. She's up in the newsroom. And Bianca, what are the terms of the deal?
Yeah, well, guys, from what we gleaned in court today, William Owen Hines has agreed to plead guilty to a charge of manslaughter, a reduced charge from what he was initially charged with, which was first-degree murder.
Are you feeling clear-headed and ready to make an important decision today?
Yes.
A major development in the Preston Lord murder case, as one of the 7 defendants charged with killing the 16-year-old is now admitting guilt.
How do you plead to that charge, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
During a settlement conference on Tuesday, William Owen Hines becoming the first to strike a deal with the state. Originally charged with first-degree murder, now pleading guilty to a reduced charge of manslaughter.
Plea is accepted and entered of record.
Hines' attorneys admitting to his involvement, saying that fateful night in October of 2023, Hines and other accomplices attacked Lord outside of a Halloween party in Queen Creek and beat him to death.
Multiple accomplices struck Preston Lord, including Owen, who kicked Preston Lord at least one time while Preston was on the ground.
Lord's family in court as those disturbing details were revealed. An emotional moment as Lord's mother spoke out.
To say we miss our son is an understatement. Preston was our world.
Amidst their unimaginable grief, she and her family now forced to endure this painful legal process for Hines and 6 other defendants.
Accountability is crucial. This defendant must answer for his actions, and we believe the plea agreement is appropriate in this case.
Also addressing the court was Hines himself, beginning with an apology to the Lord family.
These events have horrified me since the moment I saw the news.
During the hearing, Hines also agreed to plead guilty in 3 separate, unrelated aggravated assault cases.
I hope the court can see that I am serious about one day making a difference and also owning up to my mistakes.
According to the judge, Hines now faces between 10.5 and 21 years in prison for all 4 cases as he awaits sentencing scheduled for May 2nd, this marking the first of 7 cases to near its conclusion. And just yesterday, the Arizona House passed Preston's Law, a bill that would increase penalties in assault cases when 2 or more accomplices are involved. Now, it's unclear if the remaining 6 defendants in this case have also been offered deals and if they're willing to accept them. We're live in the newsroom tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
Bianca, thanks. Also new tonight, criminal charges could be filed in the case of an infant who died from extreme heat at Lake Havasu. The 4-month-old was rushed to a hospital back in July after suffering a medical issue while on a boat with family. The child was eventually rushed to Phoenix Children's Hospital and later died. An autopsy report showed the baby died from complications of heat exposure. The Mojave County Sheriff's Office has forwarded the case to the county attorney for potential charges of negligent homicide.
Tonight, friends and family gathered to mourn a teen who was brutally murdered after disappearing from her Mesa group home. Mesa police say that 14-year-old Emily Pike was last seen leaving her group home in January near McKellips Road and Mesa Drive. In February, her remains were found outside of Globe, and she was publicly identified just last week. Emily's family says that they're from San Carlos Apache tribe and are overwhelmed by all the support as they search for answers.
This is Emily's village. You can't just roam around free. You know, we have people supporting us, loving us. We're moving forward with love. And there can only come consequences with that.
The Gila County Sheriff's Office is leading the investigation into Emily's murder. At this point, there haven't been any arrests.
Tonight, another round of school closures was up for discussion in the Valley. The Phoenix Elementary School District is facing a multi-million-dollar deficit and planned on closing 2 schools to help make up that money. But at the last minute, the governing board decided to postpone the vote. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly has more on the growing backlash that led to the decision.
A governing board member told me that hundreds of people asked for more community input. The problem is, with a delay in this vote, the superintendent says dozens of teachers and staff could be laid off because of it. Outside the Phoenix Elementary School District, a protest against the closing of Dunbar and Hurd elementary schools.
I think it's a poor decision. It's a quick solution. That's going to impact all of us in the community.
A large crowd against the closure packed the meeting Tuesday night, where district leadership was supposed to make a decision. Both schools closing would impact hundreds of students and their families, but help make up a $12 million budget shortfall because of declining enrollment. Teaching jobs and other staff positions would also be cut. But because of so much opposition from the community, the board agreed to push the vote back.
There's still hope, and there'll continue to be hope.
We don't know what's going to happen. We've got to watch it very closely.
Governing board member Erica Ovalle says they will now create a community committee made up of district families that will weigh in on what should happen.
Even if we do decide to close schools together, it's got to be a decision we make together.
When we asked how long that process could take,
like not more than a year.
But Superintendent Deborah Gonzalez says they don't have that kind of time.
So pushing it back does put us in a little bit of a bind.
No matter what happens, she says the district still needs to come up with $12 million. And if a final decision isn't made soon, drastic layoffs will happen.
We're looking at almost 90 positions cut. That includes teachers, that includes support staff.
She says pre-kindergarten would also get axed, which several parents said they don't want to happen to keep the programs people want. Gonzalez says tough decisions will have to be made. The superintendent told me they really have to make a final decision by their first board meeting in April, which is just a few short weeks away, leaving a lot up in the air for teachers and parents within the district. We're in Phoenix. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Big misunderstanding. I can definitely show you. Big misunderstanding.
You're looking at what officials are calling a big misunderstanding. This was caught on camera by Glendale police. 3 men who were visiting Arizona were handcuffed and questioned after unknowingly renting a stolen car. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra explains what happened and what police are saying about the mix-up.
Have a seat on the curb. Have a seat on the curb.
3 men were met by this shocking encounter on a trip to the Valley. Glendale police officers with guns raised conducting a felony traffic stop on a stolen car.
Whose car is this? Turo car. Turo? Yes. Like rental? Yes.
This blue Dodge Charger popped up as stolen on one of Glendale's license plate readers near 79th Avenue and Bell Road.
If you want to unlock the phone, like Yeah, it's a big misunderstanding. I can definitely show you.
The driver tells police he had rented the car from Turo just hours before. Turo is a car-sharing company that allows people to rent cars directly from the owner through an app.
Whoever did this is doing something to us. No idea about this. Got this thing today. Keys were handed to me.
After confirming the rental agreement, the men were let go without incident, and officers drove them home.
This and a bunch of other cars were all kind of stolen at the same time.
You see, and that makes sense.
And now it seems like people are stealing them and then renting them out to people.
And then you come to us and we're just like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah.
According to a police report, the car had been stolen out of Phoenix. Phoenix police tell me multiple car keys were reported stolen on January 21st, which led to the theft of 12 cars. Some had been rented out to people.
We're gonna need a refund.
A Turo spokesperson tells me they did fully refund this customer. They say the host had previously reported the car as stolen, but never told police to remove it from the database after it was found. In a statement, the spokesperson says, quote, "They are doing everything possible to reinforce our safety and communication protocols with our hosts because nothing matters more to us than keeping our guests safe."
This is not really the app's fault. They do their best to vet the situation. It's on the owners of these individual properties, if you will, to go ahead and let the app know what's going on. Had they done so, this car would have never been in the system and these folks would have never been taken for their money.
In Glendale, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
Gabby, thanks. So we reached out to the driver and the passengers who live in Maryland. They weren't available for an interview, but they did tell us in a statement that they thank God they were able to walk away and go home to their families. They also plan to seek the truth and find out what happened that night.
Now to Washington, D.C., where in a fiery speech to both chambers of Congress tonight, President Trump pushed Republicans to help turn his agenda into law. The president describing the first 43 days of his second term as the most successful in history, touting what he calls early wins and promising more change. The address began with some pushback, with Texas Representative Al Green refusing to sit down before ultimately being led out of the Capitol. Another key moment came when Trump called on Congress to end the CHIPS Act, which provided funding for U.S.-based semiconductor producers, including TSMC and Intel, both companies that have a large presence here in Arizona.
And we're not giving them any money. Your CHIPS Act is a horrible, horrible thing. We give hundreds of billions of dollars, and it doesn't mean a thing. They take our money and they don't spend it. All that meant to them, we're giving them no money. All that was important to them was they didn't want to pay the tariffs, so they came and they're building, and many other companies are coming. We don't have to give them money. We just want to protect our businesses and our people.
Trump also reiterating that reciprocal tariffs will take effect on April 2nd. Trump saying, quote, "Whatever they tax us, we will tax them," referring to tariffs on all major U.S. trading partners. It comes just a day after 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada went into effect.
Meanwhile, just hours before the president's address, hundreds of protesters rallied against current White House policies outside the state capitol. Our crew saw people protesting actions like the crackdown on immigration, Trump's federal funding freeze, moves on transgender rights, and his empowerment of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. We asked protesters what they'd like to see.
If we can speak to our governing bodies to stop the coup, then we want to do that to save America and save Americans.
This administration is trashing the country. And Donald is not king. I'm sorry, Donald, but you're not king.
Now, this protest was among several that were happening across the country, hosted by the group 5051, with more protests planned for the coming weeks.
Still ahead, new details on a concerning measles outbreak in Texas, how the CDC is responding, how these native Arizona creatures are finding their way into new locations after wildfires forced them out of their homes.
And in sports, a heated moment between KD and Coach Bud during tonight's game. Cam will break down what happened in the game against the Clippers.
And the next big thing in weather, something we haven't seen in quite some time. Valley rain is heading our way. I'll have a closer look at the timing and the impacts of the 1-2 punch coming our way just ahead in weather.
And we have a reminder that 12 Plus is the streaming home of 12 News. It's where you can get all the latest breaking news and weather updates happening across the state. Just download 12 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV devices.
Valor.
And Caribe Divine continues now.
Now to the Vatican, where officials say that Pope Francis is in stable condition after suffering 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure on Monday. The 88-year-old pontiff remains hospitalized and is receiving high-flow oxygen therapy. Vatican officials say that the Pope prayed and rested today and didn't have any additional medical complications. The pontiff has been at Rome's Gemelli Hospital since the middle of February with a case of double pneumonia.
That measles outbreak in Texas has now grown to 159 cases. The CDC says it has crews on the ground responding to it. Texas officials said 22 people have been hospitalized. Most of them are in Gaines County, home to a large unvaccinated population. Last week, Texas announced the first death tied to the outbreak. An unvaccinated school-aged child with no underlying health conditions. It was the first measles death in the U.S. since 2015 and the first child since 2003.
All right, back here in Arizona, we are tracking some rain chances for later on this week. Meteorologist Chris Dunn is here now with your weather impact forecast. How's it looking, Chris?
Actually, this is looking like the most encouraging sign of rain in the valley we've seen so far this winter season. So we're kind of excited about this. Thursday and Friday, just a little bit of rain on Thursday, more wind than rain, I think, on Thursday. The impact for both days, windy and wet, with more of the wet being on Friday. That's the biggest impact. Rain in the valley and snow in the higher elevations. Here's Futurecast. The clouds increase during the day on Wednesday. I'll stop the clock here on Thursday morning first thing, and there's a little bit of that rain mostly just skirting the valley. Snow really cranking up for Flagstaff and then it kind of backs off a little bit, kind of off and on through the day on Thursday. And then as we get into Friday morning, the second of the 1-2 punch moves in, and look at this large area of rain moving into the valley a little bit earlier than some of our previous forecast runs, but also seeing that snow up here to the north. This is first thing Friday morning, so 5 o'clock in the morning, and you can see that swirl right on top of us. So we're kind of under the influence of this area of low pressure with snow up in the high country and rain for the valley as well. So how much rain are we looking at? Well, the first swipe on Thursday morning, not a whole lot, just right on the edge of just trace amounts to up to possibly 1/10 of an inch. But then Friday morning, things really get going, and we're pushing a 1/2 inch in some areas. That is a possibility, especially up to the north. Cave Creek, Carefree, Anthem, Lake Pleasant areas added that little extra lift with the higher terrain just to the north of the Phoenix area. So as we put it all together, all of our computer forecast models projecting 1/3 of an inch of rain. That's a possibility in central Phoenix. 1700s, 3500s, 2700s, they're all pretty similar in every subsequent run of these forecast models. So the numbers look a lot better than we have seen all winter long, because since October 1st, only 3/100ths of an inch of rain. Normal is 3.72. For the high country, travel above 5,000 feet. Wednesday night starts to go downhill. Thursday and Friday, we'll have snowy periods, a wintry blast on Friday, and then Saturday things clear out, so you get the green light. As far as the snow is concerned for Flagstaff, here are the computer model projections for Flagstaff over the next 48 hours, the next 2 days, anywhere from 2 to 2.5 up to 7. I think kind of in that 3 to 5 inch range will be the sweet spot. That takes us through Thursday. And the snow elevations starting out around 5,000 feet, eventually lowering to about 4,500 feet by Friday. Here's your Valley 7-day forecast. We do have a weather impact alert day for Friday because of that high chance for rain and a cool day with wind, only 60 degrees on Friday, but then we pop back up to 80 degrees by the end of the weekend. Flagstaff, 2 days of a weather impact because of that snow Thursday and Friday, but clearing out for your weekend.
All right, Chris, thank you. Well, check this out. Some of Arizona's most elusive animals have made a new home inside the Boyce Thompson Arboretum. This is a coatimundi, also known as a coati. Experts say that the animals have been forced out of their usual home by wildfires. Boyce Thompson is Arizona's oldest and largest botanical garden. It's home to many plants that are native to Arizona, and that makes it the perfect place for these animals.
Still ahead, the Suns visibly frustrated against the Clippers tonight and with each other, but could have sparked a late game comeback. It's coming up in sports. A lot of ways, both with their on-court play and what's happening off the court. The Suns are at a crossroads.
At a crossroads, Mark, but tonight you saw every end of that road. It was unbelievable. Wild night in downtown, the head coach, the star player, getting into it. And then the Suns pulled off a season-saving epic comeback on national TV. Here's the moment early in the first half. We're going to show you the entire thing for context. Kevin Durant coming off the floor. Head coach Mike Budenholzer wants to talk. You saw him grab his arm. KD pulled it away. Bud not happy. KD not happy. To exchange a few words there after the timeout. Watch KD, though, tap Bud to talk. Come over here. Let's discuss this. This is what adults do, folks. They hash things out, right? KD and Bud would talk it over. KD would give Bud a good pat on the shoulder when they're all done. Bud would give KD a pat on the stomach. In the end, everything is good. And guys, this sparked one of the best comebacks of the year. Clippers built a 24-point lead. Here come the Suns. KD leading the charge. Just like that, it's a 2-point game late in the fourth. KD again, the Slim Reaper, taking over. Look at this. Tied at 106. KD finished with 34. 19 coming in the fourth quarter. Late in the fourth, look at this. Colin Gillespie running point guard. Ahead to Devin Booker. Suns have the lead. How did this happen? Then we got the dagger. Gillespie knocks down the three. You kidding me? He had a night. 10 points. Suns win 119-117. They outscored the Clippers by 21 in the fourth. All right, college hoops. Bobby Hurley at ASU visiting their big-time rival in Tucson, right? Midway through the first, Hurley thinks the officials missed a traveling call right here. So he makes the signal himself, right? It's like, hey, refs, come on, what happened? And he gets teed up for that. Hurley in disbelief, his face kind of says it all. End of the first half, Sun Devils trailing by 11. Alston Mason right here, the half-court buzzer beater. Like the shot of that. Right there at the three-point line. ASU trailed by 8 going into the break. This game's still going on right now in the second half. U of A has the lead. Guys, back to the Suns.
That's a late game, too.
Wait a minute. So
this is a late night of basketball.
Yeah.
Was the tap on the stomach?
Yeah, the tap on the stomach was just, hey, we're all good, right? Listen, it just goes to show you. Maybe you can disagree like that.
Yeah.
You can fight with your coach. The player can fight. But afterwards, it sparked the Sun, one of their best comebacks of the year. That saves their season.
Yeah, that's all
right
that matters.
Because you lose that season with lose that game with 20 games to go. It's just not great. That puts them back in the conversation.
All it takes is just that little dose of confidence.
Yeah.
That one win can get you.
That was the most confident they've played in the fourth quarter in a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff, man.
Well, coming up next, a touching moment in nature unfolds right in front of the camera for the whole world to see. We'll be right back.
That's the 12 News Skyhawk.
Oh, there he is.
They're birding. Oh, look at him chilling.
What do you call it? Skyhawk 12? eagle eggs began to hatch in a nest in Big Bear Valley, California.
The bald eagles, Jackie and Shadow, they've been waiting for this moment for some time. An organization called Friends of Big Bear Valley set up a solar-powered camera to keep an eye on the nest and to watch these highly anticipated births. The chicks began hatching over the weekend, and they both arrived this morning.
That's amazing.
Shadow was seen handing out cigars.
Thanks, everyone, for watching 12 News. Don't forget to download 12 Plus on your Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku devices.
Be sure and join Emma and Allison for Today in AZ starting at 4:26 tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, and have a great night.